Hey guys, this might be it for Yu Darvish. So he spoke on Monday through a interpreter, and he said, I'm not necessarily thinking about really pitching as I go through this rehab process right now. I don't have that in mind. I'm just trying to rehab my arm right now. And if I get the urge to come back, if I feel that I can stand on the mound and come back, then I will go for that. But I'll just leave it there for now. So he's got a contract running through 2028. He's going to be out for next season. He's due to come back in 2027. This is interesting on a couple fronts. Number one, from a fan perspective, KP, I'm sure fans want to see Darvish and you miss him as part of the rotation this year, all of that. On the other side, the Padres are going to be sold. They're going through some lawsuit crap with who gets what with the aftermath of Peter Seidler passing away. And if Yu Darvish is serious, he's going to have to give money back. I remember my friend, and you guys know him, right? Ryan Dempster did this for his one season with what, Boston? And Kratz is smirking. Did he not do that, Kratz?
He did it, but let's make sure, maybe there was a little bit different circumstances too than just, I don't want to play again.
Okay, fair. But for Darvish, I mean, you rarely see this. Is he going to give back KP a year, maybe more, of money to just call it?
I think he might. I mean, I appreciate the honesty. I mean, as a fan, you're probably maybe a little bit upset because he is going to get paid to rehab this year. But as a player, I mean, I appreciate his honesty. I mean, he's it's been kind of a weird last couple of years for him. He's had some absences away from the team for some personal reasons. We don't really know what was going on. He would go back to Japan for certain things. He's had an unbelievable career. If this is how he truly feels in his heart, and obviously going through an injury like Tommy John at his age, with the amount of innings that he's pitched for as long as he's pitched, it can't be the easiest thing. And if that's where his heart's at and he feels like he's just going to take it day by day, what I really like is I love seeing the videos of him catching his son throwing bullpens. So he might just be at that point of his life where, his son or his family life is a little bit more important. And he's made a ton of money. And I know it's a lot of people are going to be like, damn, man, I'm sitting here thinking I would never get back the money because I didn't make as much money as him. But apparently he feels comfortable with the amount of money he's made that he's willing to maybe forego the last 2 years of his career. But I appreciate the honesty, and I guess we'll just see what happens a year from now.
One fan in the chat mentioning how Michael Kadire did that. That was Mike Laverty. You guys remember Kadire did that? What, for the last year of his contract? It's happened. It happens time to time.
I didn't remember that. I
was with Kadire during Home Run Derby X, and that kind of came up. Me just recently being retired, talking about kind of the transition I was making in my life, leaving baseball, and he kind of talked to me about that story where he was at in his life, and he left a lot of money. I think it was like 11 or $12 million on the table, but he felt like he had given everything he had to the game, that he wasn't going to be the type of player commanding an 11 or $12 million deal. His kids were at a certain age. I think he's got twin daughters, and I think he has a son who's actually going to be playing at North Carolina next year. So, some people just, money's not everything to every person. It's a lot easier when you've made a ton of money to give up future earnings. But I love when people just, know when they've had enough, they've given enough to the game, that there's other priorities in their life and they're able to walk away from some money. Aaron LaRoche did the same thing, with the situation in White Sox spring training where his son wasn't. Was it the White Sox or was it the Nationals at the time?
Adam LaRoche. Yep, Adam.
Adam LaRoche. Sorry, Adam LaRoche. Sorry, Aaron's
with the White Sox,
his brother.
Yep.
Yeah. But he felt like whatever money he was owed was not equal to the value that he cherished the time with his son, being able to bring him into spring training, the clubhouse. And when they said no, he said no to the money. There's not enough money in the world you could give me to separate me from this time that I have with my son. So good for guys and people for being willing to do that.
Yeah, and everybody's situation is different. Like Roche, one of the reasons, yes, obviously him and Kenny Williams kind of butted heads about the whole, his son wasn't allowed to come in, and he's like, dude, I was in the clubhouse with my dad throughout his entire career. He's been in the clubhouse the year before. They didn't see eye to eye. But also there was something in the offseason. You know, he had done some mission work with International Justice Mission, saving kids from human trafficking. And he was like, I'm going to spend an entire baseball season, which is a lot. People think sometimes players just go to the ballpark and they play the game and then they come home. Well, you're playing a game. There is so much that goes on into it. My last year was 2020. In 21, Team USA said, we want you on the Olympic team. It's your spot. You'll be on it. And there was no doubt in my mind I did not want to play. Physically, I could have done it. Physically, everything was fine. But the fact that I would have had to work out every single day with disregard to my family, which I had disregarded pretty much for the 19 seasons before, the 19 years before in my life, because the fact that, you know, you're constantly the guy when you're the player, and all of a sudden family becomes more important, and you're like, I gave a lot to it. Yu Darvish is no different. I also think there's another level that I don't understand. KP probably could understand a little bit more. Elite. He was elite. He knows he'll never get back to that. He knows last year his velocity was down, his max velocity, not even talking his average velocity, his max velocity, he could throw a baseball, was down 2 miles an hour. So you know when you're at an elite level early in your career, how are you ever going to get back to that? Then you're like, wait a minute, I got to work out for 12 months. I got to miss my son who just committed. I think he's going to University of California, San Diego or something. I'm not sure exactly which, but he just committed to play. So there's more things that are involved in that than just, I'm going to get $18 million. I'm going to get $22 million, which is a ridiculous thing to say to 99.999% of the population.
Okay, and then Padres fans are like, what does this mean? Do we save money? Does this help us? Because it sounds like, from our conversations with Ken and from reading others, the Padres aren't going to be the ownership forcing AJ Preller to just dump payroll left and right, but it's going to stay at a similar rate, if not come down a drop. Also, it's going to add up with some of the long-term contracts that I think get higher as they go. So what do you think, KP, for San Diego Padres fans? I mean, it's not going to save them any money this coming season. I think we should lay that part out. 2026, he's out for the year. He's getting paid. He's getting paid to rehab. That's just how it works. Could it save them money in 27 or 28? Yeah, maybe.
It certainly could. If that's how he decides to, go out in his career. Obviously, he has a ethical responsibility to show up if he is healthy or if he is still rehabbing. If he completes, and the team obviously documents this for people at home listening, he's going to go through his rehab process with the team. He is going to have to check all these boxes. He's going to have to get off a mound. He's going to have to go on a rehab assignment. Once that is all completed and he is healthy to perform and he decides that he does not want to perform anymore, he is going to have to make a decision he's going to have a decision to make, which is going to come with him forfeiting the rest of his money. He's going to have to retire. The team is going to save money, but I mean, that's still a year away. So there is a chance that the Padres on the back end of this contract, which to a lot of people thought was a little bit crazy given his age when he did sign this extension, but there could be a silver lining in it for Padres fans that they may be saving a good amount of money in a year from now.
Jay Farrell in the chat said he took the long deal to help the Padres out and keep the AAV down. He should get every dollar he's owed. I know you guys usually feel that way, but I will also say when you sign those deals on the other side, you got to play through the deal, right? We've seen some of these deals 10 years, 12 years. Like if you get hurt, that's one thing, but otherwise you got to play through the deal, Kratz. And if not, then you do give money back. That's how this works. It's not like, oh, well, you know what? I helped them out on the short end. Plus I got to look at what the number is. I don't have my computer today, so I'm a little more limited, but if you evaluate this contract and how much Yu's been hurt and now is going to miss more time, it's a bad contract for the Padres.
This was an extension. That he had signed. But yeah, I mean, it's not, and that's why I think possibly there could be some insurance which could save the Seidler family or the trust a little bit of money. But I mean, he's owed 16 in the next successive years, 16, 15, and 15. So, yeah, it stinks. But one other thing when you're talking about it, and maybe we'll ask him next time he comes on, we'll probably have more pressing matters. But Buster Posey, I remember playing with him in 19. You and I were both there, KP. And Buster looked to Evan Longoria, and he goes, "You got 5 more years on your contract?" He's like, "Oh, that would be brutal." He just wanted to play to a certain extent because he wanted to be home with his family. He wanted to move on to the next thing. And I don't think people necessarily understand that, because I think then Buster sat out 2020 because of COVID. 21, he signed his 1-year deal. And I assume they went to him because he had a massive year that year when they went to Crawford, who signed a 2-year extension. And I'm assuming he probably declined it and was like, "No, I'm good." Like, some guys are good to be done. It's okay to be done and not be shackled by the fact that you have an obligation to keep playing.
Mm-hmm. The obvious example being brought up here by MGR in the chat, MJR, did Rendon play through the deal? Well, it sounds like they're going to figure something out for this coming season, and he's
Different.
a tricky case. Yeah, it's different. It is different.
Yeah, this is very
I know
different.
It doesn't seem right, but it's different.
This is different because at the end of this deal, where we're talking about at the end of this rehab process, he's going to have a choice to make, Yu Darvish. And if he wants to give that money back by saying, "I don't want to play anymore," he's going to give the money back. There's a difference in, and you have to respect what Kratz is saying. He understands that he might not ever be elite again, and he doesn't want to pitch at not being elite anymore. So if he decides to go home and give the money back, that's one thing. I think it's worse for him to just check the boxes and go out there and be a way less version of himself and just going out and collecting a paycheck. So if he wants to give the money back, go give the money back. You know, like Kratz said, we are humans. We have families. We have our priorities change. And yes, you do have a responsibility to kind of honor that contract. But if you can get out of that contract by not receiving the money, then who's upset about it?
He's made plenty of money, so he's going to be okay. Yeah, and on the Padres side, I mean, I don't think it's going to change much in terms of plans for them this coming season. Some Padres fans are probably like, "No, don't trade Nick Pivetta. Why is he even in a conversation?" And I agree with that. I mean, Nick Pivetta had a banger year, and he's always a guy that you were watching and thinking that he could find another gear. It goes back to our combo we had with Ken about the Nationals, thinking they've got another gear with their crew coming in to try and boost some of their players. You didn't feel that way, Kratz? I felt that way. You think it's more of an anomaly year, or do you think that they helped him unlock something and he might have a nice little run here for the next couple of years? I think I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't trade him is my point, and I don't think whatever Darvish does has any idea or has any correlation to this, because you're not going to know what Darvish is doing for a while.
I think it's a lottery ticket. I think if they cash in Nick Pivetta, because of I think there's a lot of value there, because they only paid him $5 million or maybe even $4 million last year because of how they staggered that or loaded that contract.
Yeah, it was, I think.
And I think it's a lottery ticket that there might be another Nick Pivetta out there. What do they see in like a Luis Heel? What do they see? I just use that name because you have to trade him to a team that's willing to pay a starting pitcher for the next 4 years on this contract. This is a lottery ticket, and maybe this is a chance to say, you know what, we see this value in somebody else that we just saw the league was undervaluing in Pivetta, and that's how we got that contract.
I think Pavetta's situation was the qualifying offer.
Okay.
I mean,
there's someone else that has
really
that.
hard for that. No, you're right. You're right. I know. I'm just saying that's where they find value, is they go, okay, all these teams are avoiding this guy because he's not a star free agent available last year, and he's got the pick attachment, and teams don't want to give that up. And I also do think that ultimately the league is trying to get rid of the comp pick for a significant trade-off like the international draft. That's getting into CBA talks. So
yeah.
Players have consistently been getting punished with the qualifying offer, and I think examples are being made so that they can use that. It's one of their best bargaining chips, just giving you inside baseball on what's going on with that world.